being in New York. Sammy, you're in my neck of the woods, aren't you?
Parker, what's up? Yes, I am in New York for a nice little trip, and I'm excited. I get to see you later today. It's always nice to come visit New York. Not live.
I feel like you want to move here.
Nope.
I feel like you want to move here.
Nope.
I heard on the rumor mill, like Adam Schefter
trade
said
block.
Sam Panitch may be moving back to New York or wants to move back to New York.
No, I don't. But
So you're,
coming to
squashing
visit.
the rumors.
Squashing
You're coming
rumors. Love coming to visit. Love seeing my friends.
On the record.
Love seeing my coworkers. Got a juice this morning. Walked around the city. It was beautiful. But I will not be moving back anytime soon, and that's okay because we can come visit.
Okay,
and we're gonna
anytime
come visit.
soon. Anytime soon. That's
I'll
what
never
I just
say
heard.
never.
Anytime. Never say never. Because if you say never, you're putting a governor on your life. That's
No
the way I
governors.
look at it. You know, like a car. You know, car can only go a certain amount of speed. Yeah,
It's true. It's true.
So, what's going on? What's on your mind? How's life going for you, Sam? It's been a while since we've caught up on a Fortitude.
Yeah, it
Tell me
has.
about what's going on.
Yeah, man. Honestly, I think a lot has changed in the last week. I think it would be naive not to talk about the fact that I'm feeling frustrated and upset and disappointed in the direction that our country is headed, for sure. It's something that I don't think I can be true to myself or Elevation Nation by not bringing up. I know we typically try not to get political on this podcast. We try to elevate mindsets across the aisle, but I don't believe that this is a bipartisan issue from one party to the other. I think this is a human issue, and unfortunately, I'm feeling pretty deflated, man. I'm not going to lie. It's scary. Something that has been so standard in our lives is not going to be standard in our children's lives and in our lives in the future. And I think it's unfortunate and scary, and I'm very nervous to see what else happens because of this now.
I'm with you. It's just like, yeah, I mean, it's just a tough thing to hear and see. Like, you know, I think the last few months, you know, there was talk that there was going to be a decision on this. And like everyone was like preparing in a sense, but it never felt like it was ever going to become a reality. And then all of a sudden it happens. And it's a grueling punch because it does feel like that we're going backwards. And I'm with you in the sense that what is next if they can take, you know, that inherent right away, what other things can be taken away. And it's scary. It's really scary. And you know, I think what's crazy about just like the life in general and whatnot is that we often live in the present, but history, you know, that cliche history tends to repeat itself. And what makes you think that something like, you know, look at 100 years ago, look at what happened in Germany in World War II, look what happened in Russia right now, North Korea, people coming in and changing rules and laws based upon their beliefs, when in reality, that's not even the majority, that's not what the majority of people believe.
Yeah.
And look what eventually happened. It's just scary. But, you know, what's really sad about it is we'll get up and we'll continue to live our lives as men. And I just want to say that if you're a woman and you're listening, you know, I don't know what you're going through, but Sam and I are here as, you know, people who will support you through whatever you're going through.
That's really well said, Parker. I think obviously we don't know the true pain. I'm sure that what I'm feeling is a mere fraction of what the women in our lives are feeling and the future women in our lives are feeling. it's hard because I try with Elevation Nation and Mental Fortitude to be optimistic and glass half full and shift your mindset to see the bright and positive sides of situations. But unfortunately, right now, I feel like stuck. I feel stuck in mud. Like, no matter what we do, nothing can really change this. I feel helpless. Maybe that's a better word. Like, I'm all for marching and protesting and trying to rise up. I think those are great. I don't know if it does any, like, I don't know how to actually do something legitimately, like from a legal perspective. Like, how do you strike down laws from the Supreme Court? I like literally don't actually know. Do you have to have another case go through that overturns it again, turns it backwards again?
I'm not sure, but if a law is put into action and it can be rescinded, I can't imagine that it can't be put into action again. I don't know. I'm with you,
Yeah.
and that is me. I'm not really sure. All I know is that, yes, protesting, in a democracy, protesting is, an inherent right that we all have, and be able to give speak our what is on our mind, as long as we're not hurting anybody, or speaking, inflicting any harm on others. I think the biggest thing is, if you truly believe in certain things, you got to go out and vote and make your difference that way. And that's the beautiful thing about a democracy, is that we vote the people to represent us. And then those individuals who represent us, it's still, yes, I see what you're saying. And
that's why I feel helpless, right? Like, you can vote and that's great, but it's like this decision was
right
made
now,
by people.
You have a Democratic Senate, Democratic House, you have a Democratic president, and a ruling like this went through. It's scary. It's sad. It's wild. But it's also really crazy. I read this story back in and I'm not speaking that I'm left or right or whatever. I'm just saying that this is what I read. Back in the Civil War time, I believe, to help Abraham Lincoln move forward with the expansion of his abolition of slavery policy, he expanded the court. I believe from either 7 to 9 or something like that, but he expanded the court, and he put his foot down and had that inherent right to do so. And he did it.
Slippery slope,
and then that became the law of the land. Well, yeah, at the time, think about it. The Union and the Union and the Confederate, they were different. Yeah. So yeah.
Damn,
but
that's crazy.
It's crazy. It's wild. It's just like, it's 2022, man. That's what it is. It's 2022, and we've talked a lot about things that have. Well, I mean, I think it feels like it, because it's just another thing in our lives that
this crazy
is just flipping everything on its head. I mean, if we had a freaking notepad of all the crazy conversations that you and I have had while we've started Elevation Nation, of just like the crazy things that have happened in the world that have really just like, holy crap, that's life.
Yeah. No,
that's our lives. That's the life that we live.
Yeah,
think about that.
We have to figure out how to navigate that. It's tough. I want to bring up something I saw when this decision came out from a former podcast guest and a dear friend of ours, Sophie Barron, who runs The Conversationalist. If you haven't checked out The Conversationalist, it's a pretty incredible platform where Sophie strives to have us break out of our echo chambers and hear other people's opinions on controversial topics. And obviously, the overturning of Roe v. Wade was one of those. And she made a post that pretty much said, like, I know all of us are really upset, but let's try to open our ears so we can understand what other people are saying and why they think that this is a good thing, right? And she got absolutely yelled at in her comments just by saying to listen to another side. And I totally get that people are frustrated and upset. I am too. But like, I don't really know very many people who are happy with this decision. So I actually am genuinely interested to hear. I want to hear why other people wanted this to be overturned. Not because I agree with them, but how am I supposed to come up with compelling arguments or reasons or empathy to then hopefully re-overturn, like put this back into place without knowing the reasons that they wanted it overturned in the first place? And I think by just saying like, no, these people are fully against us or against human rights, I think it's tough. Obviously, I get that people are upset, and I agree that I think this is an abomination and horrible. But if we don't understand why other people are happy about this, how can we then come up with a compelling argument to hopefully turn it back? You can't just close your ears and run into an argument and yell. You have to pick apart, right? Like, it's like the first thing you learn in a debate. You have to listen to the other person's points and pick them apart one by one. Well, in order to do that, we have to know why the other side is saying this. So, I don't know. I felt bad for Sophie because I know she wants us to break out of our echo chambers, and I appreciate her doing that.
I mean, that's what Sophie's doing, in general. Like, it's unfortunate that people don't see what the conversationalist is about. And yes, Sam and I obviously do not agree with the decision by any means, but that's our opinion. That's the way we think things should have been. That's the way we think about the situation. But that doesn't mean that someone you're walking on the street who lives a very different life than you thinks a different way. And oftentimes, I think we live in that comfort zone where we don't want to see that other side because we just say they're wrong. And we divide ourselves just naturally by saying that, nah, they're wrong, they're a bad person. But in reality, I think there's a lot of people in the world who believe in the decision. And I think what happens in a democracy is that they have the freedom to believe in that. And while we don't agree with that, that's the nature of the way this country was built. And while it's unfortunate, I think it goes to show that sometimes we are so riled up that we forget that there are people who believe in different things than we do. And as an American, that's challenging at times. But by no means necessary does that mean that we're like Sophie or we are like, oh, like whatever, I want to hear the other side. So like, yes, we want to hear the other side because we want to understand and learn as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, Parker and I wanted to talk to you, Elevation Nation, about this because it's been pressing on our minds. It's been hurting my soul for the past week. And so we wanted to make sure that we brought up our thoughts and our opinions on this. So if you're out there and you need someone to talk to, by no means are Parker and I experts, obviously, in this situation. But just know you're not alone in feeling how you feel right now. That's for sure. And let's hope that we have brighter and better days in the future. With that, Elevation Nation, until next week, peace. Well done, Parker.